Final.
Come, championship bound, baby! Woo! Big up, baby! Woo! Here, man. It got a little crazy out there, but we made it through.
We're gonna keep stacking the day, so see you in the championship.
Bow! Let's go!
June 17th was never going to be just another regular season game for the Indiana Fever. From the second the schedule dropped, everybody who remembered the chaos from May 30th had this rematch circled in red. The tension between the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun had been building for weeks, and after what happened during that brutal first matchup, there was unfinished business hanging in the air. Fever fans hadn't forgotten the injuries. The players definitely hadn't forgotten the injuries. And most importantly, Sophie Cunningham had not forgotten what happened when she and Sydney Colson were left hurting on the floor while the officials allowed the game to spiral completely out of control.
Was chippy the last time these two teams faced off too. Sophie Cunningham suffered her ankle injury in that game, but in addition to that, she actually had part of her front tooth knocked out. She made contact with Jacy Sheldon as Caitlin Clark knocks down the triple.
But what people don't talk about enough is how hard you have to work to be able to be that good. All the hours that she's spent perfecting her craft.
Retreating, firing, and hitting!
So she can do that!
On Indiana arguing the call.
I mean, step back, you're late. She almost looks you in the eye and
Started as a physical basketball rivalry had turned personal, emotional, and explosive. By the time the Fever walked into the arena on June 17th, everybody could feel something different brewing. This wasn't just about standings anymore. This wasn't just about winning another basketball game. This was about respect, revenge, and sending a message to the entire league that the Indiana...
Can we talk about the physicality for a second? Two players on the Indiana Fever got injured last night by the same player on the Connecticut Sun, and that was Jacy Sheldon. And I tweeted about it. She was playing so reckless. I'm fine with players playing aggressive, but there is a thin line between playing aggressive and playing reckless. When you dive for a ball, you don't land on somebody's leg. She landed on top of Sydney Colson's leg, and her leg got stuck and literally twisted around. Both injuries, both Sydney Colson and Sophie Cunningham, were contact injuries.
Indiana Fever were no longer going to sit back and let teams bully them without consequences. The story really begins back on May 30th when the Connecticut Sun and Indiana Fever played one of the most physical games of the WNBA season. At first it looked like an ordinary matchup, but within minutes the energy on the court shifted into something ugly. Every possession felt aggressive. Every screen had...
They weren't non-contact. They weren't ACLs, they weren't Achilles, they were contact injuries caused by the same player. And this kind of physicality that the WNBA they brag about. They say it's always been a physical league. That's just the heart of the It's not good basketball. And we've seen so many injuries. Paige Becker's out with a concussion. Rakia Jackson was out with a concussion. All of these injuries are contact plays. We've seen Caitlin Clark last year get chucked to the ground. We saw Angel Reese get clothesline chucked to the ground. The players continue to do it because the refs are allowing them. Why wouldn't you keep doing it if you're a physical player?
Extra contact. Every loose ball turned into chaos. Connecticut came out playing with a level of physicality that crossed the line from competitive basketball into dangerous territory, and the officials completely lost control of the game almost immediately. Fever players were getting bumped, grabbed, and knocked around on nearly every possession while whistles stayed silent. Then came the injuries. Sophie Cunningham went...
Her mortal enemy took out a player. Jacy Sheldon. Caitlin Clark's mortal enemy. Jacy Sheldon.
Down first after a rough collision that instantly had the Fever bench furious. Moments later Sydney Colson suffered another scary contact injury, and both situations involved Jacy Sheldon. Fever fans watching the game could not believe what they were seeing. To them, this wasn't tough basketball anymore. This was reckless play that was putting players in danger. Social media exploded with clips of the incidents as fans argued that the officials had completely failed to protect the players on the floor. Sophie Cunningham even lost part of her tooth during the chaos, and the anger inside the Fever locker room only grew stronger.
This is a reckless play. This is reckless. It is dangerous. And this angle makes it look even worse. It is dangerous. Like, Sid Colson is between her and the ball. Sid Colson is in fact between Jacy Sheldon and the ball, and she dives through her knee. It wasn't even called as a foul. After
the game ended, The Fever lost that matchup by just 2 points, 85-83, but the final score barely mattered compared to the frustration everyone felt afterward. Caitlin Clark looked furious during the post-game interviews. Coach Stephanie White looked exhausted trying to explain how the game spiraled so far out of control. And Fever fans immediately began waiting for the rematch because everybody knew there was no chance Indiana was simply going to forget what happened. The history between Caitlin Clark and Jacy Sheldon only added even more fuel to the fire. These two had already battled for years, dating back to their college days when Clark dominated at Iowa and Sheldon played at Ohio State. Every matchup between them carried tension. Sheldon always played Clark aggressively.
She just texts me. She never texts me during the game.
All right. Here is Clark splashing home a three from way downtown. Kelly escorting her back to the bench.
Jacy Sheldon is there with her hand in her face,
shadowing her all over the court, bumping her on screens, pressuring her non-stop, and trying to frustrate her mentally as much as physically. Their rivalry had become one of the most talked about matchups in women's basketball, and by the time the June 17th rematch arrived, emotions were already boiling before the opening tip even happened. Caitlin Clark had also just returned from injury after missing time with a quad issue.
and Caitlin Clark are talking to the official. They're both going at it saying, hey, oh, there's a little extra right there. Uh-oh. Then Marina steps in to protect JC.
And she came into the game playing with confidence after a dominant performance against the New York Liberty. You could tell from the moment Clark stepped on the court that she remembered everything from May 30th. The way she stared across the floor during warm-ups. The way Fever players talked to each other before tip-off.
Third quarter we go. They're trailing by 10. Keep an eye on her and Jacy Sheldon. Clark trying to back her down.
Clark is okay.
Sheldon, that was Clark, hitting her in the face. Clark is upset about that. Then everybody's upset about that. Marina Mabrey comes in. She decks Clark, tempers flaring on both sides.
This team looked locked in emotionally from the beginning. The game started with the same physical tone as the first matchup. Sheldon guarded Clark tightly on every possession, bumping her, reaching, and making sure Clark felt pressure anytime she touched the basketball. Fever fans inside the arena could already sense the frustration building because every possession looked like it was one step away from chaos again. Then came the moment that changed the entire game. During the third quarter, Clark was bringing the ball up the floor when Sheldon reached in attempting to make a defensive play. But instead of getting the basketball, Sheldon's hand caught Clark directly in the face, poking her in the eye. Clark's head...
I mean, is that displacement? I think it is.
Oh, and Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected. If the officials saw that, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected.
Well, they're going to go and look at it. Look at Mabrey. She's got a scar on one side, a scratch on one side of her face, a scratch on the other side. It's not from the game today. I asked her about it. She's always in the mix. There's a lot of contact here. There's a scrape across the face. That's what Clark didn't like.
It immediately snapped backward and she grabbed her face in pain. The crowd erupted instantly because everyone inside the arena saw exactly what happened. Clark, frustrated and angry, reacted naturally by pushing Sheldon away from her after getting hit in the eye. It wasn't some wild overreaction. It was a human response after someone jabbed a finger directly into your eye during a heated game. But instead of calming the situation down, the officials somehow made everything worse. Marina Mabrey rushed into the confrontation and violently body-checked Clark to the floor in a moment that shocked the entire arena. This wasn't a basketball play. Clark wasn't even looking at Mabrey when she came charging in and knocked her down. Fever players jumped off the bench immediately while fans screamed at the officials to do something. Clark hit the hardwood hard, staring up in disbelief that another cheap shot had just happened right in front of the referees. Coach Stephanie White exploded on the sideline, pointing furiously and screaming at the officials.
Take another look as we try to figure out what exactly went down. So you see her get hit in the face. Jacy Sheldon doesn't like that, and everybody on the team doesn't like it. Marina, trying to have her teammates back, pushes her down. You see a little bit of drama all the way around. Tina, Charles, Clark, and Mabrey, they received technical fouls. Sheldon received a flagrant 1 foul.
Officials while the replay played over and over on the big screen. Everybody watching expected Mabrey to be ejected instantly because the contact was so unnecessary and obvious. Instead, the officials reviewed the play for what felt like forever.
That's what Clark didn't like. And then Mabrey came in with a bump.
And Mabrey's day is almost assuredly going to be done. But both teams
Out technical fouls instead of stronger punishments. Clark got a technical for pushing Sheldon after getting poked in the eye. Mabrey got a technical for body-checking Clark to the floor. Tina Charles also received a technical, while Sheldon was only assessed a flagrant 1. No ejections. No real accountability. The arena erupted in boos because nobody could believe the officials treated.
And then Marina Mabrey comes out of nowhere and chucks her to the floor. Now let's watch this in slow motion. Here, Jacy Sheldon is guarding Caitlin, swipes her in the face. There's one. Going for the ball, swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin's gonna have to start wearing goggles. And then Caitlin pushes her off of her, like, why are you still in my face? Marina Mabrey, bat out of hell, chucks Caitlin Clark to the ground.
All of those actions like equal offenses. Fans felt like Clark was once again being punished for defending herself while opponents continued targeting her physically with minimal consequences. Stephanie White's post-game comments later made it clear that the Fever coaching staff had completely lost patience with the officiating. She openly said the officials had failed to control the game and warned that when referees allow things to escalate all season long, eventually players will take matters into their own hands. And that's exactly what happened. Because while all of this chaos unfolded, Sophie Cunningham was sitting on the bench watching everything. She remembered getting injured in May. She remembered.
Now after this, you guys, of course, the referees are going to review the play because that's a lot of contact going on right there. That's a lot of unnecessary contact. That's a lot of non-basketball contact happening during this play, right? So the 3 referees that I like to say, they got them straight out of Sephora because I don't think these referees have ever refereed a professional basketball game in their life. They took these referees, they were at the monitor, they looked at it for, I'm not even exaggerating, you guys, like 15 minutes. 15 minutes they are watching this play over and over.
Losing part of her tooth. She remembered watching Sydney Coulson go down. She remembered the officials doing nothing while Fever players got targeted. And now she had just watched Caitlin Clark get poked in the eye and slammed to the floor with barely any consequences handed out. Something inside Sophie Cunningham snapped at that moment. By the final minute of the game, Indiana...
The announcers here are saying, of course, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected because that was unwarranted. She literally came out of nowhere and chucked Caitlin Clark. There should be a flagrant 1, of course, on Jacy Sheldon because she swiped her and hit her in the eyeball. Whether it is intentional or not, you can still have a flagrant a flagrant foul called on you, whether you are trying to intentionally hurt somebody or not. But this is what they called, you guys. This is what they called. Caitlin Clark, Marina Mabrey, Tina Charles were assessed with technical fouls on Tuesday. Caitlin, Marina, and Tina Charles. Technical fouls. That's it. Technical fouls. That's it. And Jacy Sheldon was assessed with a flagrant 1 foul, and no players were ejected.
Indiana had already secured the victory. The Fever led comfortably 87-70, and most teams probably would have simply dribbled out the clock and moved on. But Sophie Cunningham wasn't thinking about the scoreboard anymore. She was thinking about every cheap shot,
when the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. All season long. It's not just this game, it's been happening all season long. This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete and they're going to have their teammates' backs. It's exactly what you expect, right? Out of fierce competition. So I started talking to the officials in the first quarter, and we knew this was going to happen. You could tell it was going to happen. So they got to get control of it. They got to be better.
Injury, every ignored whistle, and every moment where her teammates were left unprotected. Then she saw Jacy Sheldon racing toward the basket on a fast break, and she made her decision instantly. Cunningham wrapped Sheldon up hard and dragged her to the floor in one of the most talked about moments of the WNBA season. The foul was absolutely intentional. Nobody denied that. Sophie wasn't pretending she was making a play on the basketball. This was a message. It was payback. It was her way of telling the Connecticut Sun and the rest of the league that the Fever were done being pushed around. The crowd exploded as players from both teams rushed into the chaos.
So now let's talk about Sophie Cunningham. At the end of the game, Jacy Sheldon is going for a fast break layup and Sophie Cunningham is running with her. And I remember in my head, like, it happened in a split second and I said, oh, let's see. Let's see what happens here.
A massive scuffle broke out near the baseline with players shoving, yelling, and trying to separate each other. Fever fans inside the arena immediately started chanting Sophie's name while social media exploded with reactions, calling her the ultimate teammate for standing up for Clark and the rest of the team. The officials finally handed out a...
Sophie commits a hard foul on Jacy Sheldon. Again, as Jacy Sheldon is going up for a layup, Sophie bear hugs her and takes her to the ground. What I will say is Sophie did not grab her and throw her to the ground. She didn't body slam her. She didn't do anything, in my personal opinion. Maybe I'm biased here, but I'm gonna give you guys my straight up honest opinion on this. She bear hugged her, took her to the ground. Yes, it was intentional. It was absolutely intentional.
Ejections, tossing Cunningham, Sheldon, and Lindsay Allen after the altercation. But by then, the message had already been delivered loud and clear. Indiana Fever players protect each other no matter what. And surprisingly, many fans actually supported Cunningham's actions because they believed the officials had completely failed to control the game from the beginning. Even people who admitted the foul was excessive still understood why Sophie reacted the way she did after weeks of watching Fever players take hard hits with little protection from referees. The Fever ultimately won the game 80.
It was, to me, payback for what was happening the entire game. But she did it in a way that she wasn't going to injure Jacy. She was just making it known, like, if the refs aren't going to handle it, I will handle it. We'll take care of it, but this is not what you're going to do when you come into our house. It was an intentional foul. It was a hard foul. She brought her down. But with that, you guys, Jacy Sheldon got up and she was ready to go. So as you guys can see in this video, a whole scuffle breaks out. Sophie and Jacy are going after it. Both teams are running over, trying to break it up. It kind of goes into the fan section a little bit.
8-71, advancing to the Commissioner's Cup final in one of the most emotional victories of their season. Caitlin Clark finished with 20 points and 6 assists despite dealing with the eye injury and constant physical pressure throughout the game. Natasha Howard delivered a huge performance with a double-double, while Kelsey Mitchell added important scoring as Indiana looked dominant from start.
A rare miss at the rim for Aaliyah Boston, the league's top field goal percentage shooter in the WNBA, but it's Boston who comes up with the steal and the find to Howard. Clark working on the rookie. Clark on the drive. Hang, shot too strong. There's Howard to clean up.
And Clark working off the ball, comes off the stagger.
Third year in her WNBA in terms of setting up her teammates. Clark behind the back, feed inside. 2 more for Howard.
To finish. But honestly, the box score barely captured what this game really meant. This wasn't just about basketball anymore. This was about identity. The Indiana Fever showed the entire WNBA that they were becoming tougher, more united, and more willing to fight for each other than ever before.
The Indiana Fever fans were chanting, Sophie, Sophie. Sophie's jersey is gonna sell out tonight. She's gonna be in the All-Star game tonight just from this one play because she was standing on business. It wasn't a dirty play. It was an intentional foul and it was meant to send a message. It turned into a scuffle and I don't think anybody wanted that.
Fans walked away from the game feeling like they had witnessed a turning point for the franchise. Caitlin Clark may be the superstar face of the team, but Sophie Cunningham became a hero that night because she embodied the kind of loyalty teammates dream about. She saw her teammates getting targeted, saw the officials failing to step in, and decided she would protect her team herself. Whether people agreed with the foul or not.
Oh, and Clark just took it away. It's a 2-on-1. Clark, bounce pass, pretty fine, and Mitchell won't miss from there.
This went viral everywhere. Basketball analysts debated whether the officials created the entire situation by refusing to establish control earlier in the game. And through it all, one thing became crystal clear. The Indiana Fever are no longer just a talented young team built around Caitlin Clark's superstar potential. They are becoming a team with toughness, chemistry, and emotional fire powerful enough to compete with anybody in the league. The Commissioner's Cup final against the Minnesota Lynx now awaits, but after watching the way this team rallied around each other against Connecticut, Fever fans suddenly believe this season could become something truly special. Because talent wins games, but loyalty and toughness build championship teams. And on June 17th, the Indiana Fever proved to the entire basketball world that they have both.